Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Podsmoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Podsmoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament of the Christian Bible. I use the King James Version of the Bible to write the book, to put together the prophecy of Israel, which became the prophetic book of Zion. By prophetic, I mean the prophecy prophesies the publication of the prophecy as a book written by a female who is the Zion of the Most High God of Israel. That is who I am because I wrote the book, because I published the book. This is my second time publishing it. The first time it was on YouTube. Now, of course, this is the second read through on YouTube, but I'm also reading it again for social media so that more people have a chance to hear what God has to say about our time. And today, I'm beginning the 14th chapter of the Potsmoker's Bible, which contains the 11th chapter of the Book of Zion. It's called I Dwell in a High and Holy Place. And it goes like this. This chapter is about the Grey. The Grey are saying here that they are telepathic. They have knowledge and abilities beyond ours. We are reminded again of Moses, but this time it's the power of the Grey that is called to mind. The ways of the Grey are very different than ours. We marvel at the abilities that they exhibit. They deal with quantum physics and quantum forces. The closest thing that they have to a god is what we would call, or Star Wars calls, the Force. That is what they use, the way that we use tools. It is through the manipulation of the quantum force that the Grey were able to hold back the waters of the Sea of Reeds when Moses and the Israelites passed through. Moses also was telepathic, but it wasn't until he inhaled the marijuana smoke from the bush that was burning that he was able to hear the voice of God. THC is necessary to us to speak on their level. That is what actually makes us telepathic. Although there are natural telepaths that are born that way, like I am. Their thoughts are higher than our thoughts, the Grey. They think on a different level. When I asked Ishi his name, he told me that I couldn't say it because it's too long, and it contains images as well as sounds. Their language is a telepathic language. It has a visual component to it and an emotional component also that we are not capable of using. So, they have to speak to us on our level. We are told that the Grey understand nature and can manipulate it, as in the parting of the Sea of Reeds. Yes, the Sea of Reeds. Reeds. The Red Sea wasn't in the right location to be the body of water in the text of the Exodus. However, the Sea of Reeds was in just the right location. It was a lot more shallow, and it has been known to part in strong winds. The Grey timed the event of the Exodus to coincide with this natural occurrence. They then created a force field to enhance the effect and prolong it. By using nature as a tool, the Grey create magical effects, able to inspire awe in us mere non-telepathic humans. In the very near future, our children will be taught alongside the Grey children. In our future generations, those children will be just like the Grey. They will be as intelligent, and they will be taught to manipulate matter, and they will know how to use it wisely. That is the one of the promises made to the Grey, by the Grey, 3,000 years ago. Our children, the children of Zion, will live and do live on a higher level than we do. The promises of the ancient Grey are always kept. Mankind may live in a world where people lie all the time, but the use of telepathy prohibits lies. You can't lie in your mind. Your thoughts are known. So there can be no lie. In order to lie, you first have to think of the truth. Then you have to change that truth in your mind. The lie is what comes out of your mouth. The telepath can hear the truth as well as hear the lie. Telepaths, by their very nature, cannot truly lie. Not to each other. Now, a telepath could lie to a non-telepath, but that's a totally different thing. However, the truer meaning of this passage is the fact that the Grey are intending to follow through with the plans that they have for my people. They set this plan in motion 3,000 years ago. Our entire world's history was designed to create the right conditions for the war on drugs to happen. It had to happen to create the people of Zion. After going through all of the trouble to create us, the Grey intend to finish what they started. The war on drugs was necessary to teach my people humility and to purify our thoughts and actions. Humanity was created using a primitive people, Neanderthals. We had to grow up as a species in order to be able to use our minds wisely. The brutish nature of our primitive gene origins had to be matured enough to allow our minds to handle the responsibility of higher brain functions. The war on drugs was used to teach us to control our thoughts through adversity. In order for us to learn to use our abilities, we had to learn to quiet our minds. To quiet our minds, we had to learn humility and to be forced to guard our actions, which requires us to guard our thoughts, making us the contrite ones. In order to condition our minds, we first had to lose our egos. Pride can be a very destructive emotion. In order for Zionites to let go of pride, we had to suffer. Our broken spirit opened our minds to a larger reality. We had to learn to use our minds in order to outwit the enemy, the state. We had to learn to discipline our thoughts and actions to protect ourselves from everyone around us. There can be no ego in the face of such adversity. For all of our suffering, we will be rewarded. Once we have learned our lessons and we have accepted our true identity, we will reap the good that we have sown. Part of the promise of the prophecy is the end of our suffering. It was to end suffering that I chose this path to begin with. The promise of a brighter future for our children is at the heart of the prophecy and all that I do. Once we take our rightful place in this society, our holy smoke will be just that. Our marijuana use will be our most righteous act. We will be honored for our use of weed, a total reversal of our current circumstance. You see, we have to be high to communicate with the gray, who are God, and for us to carry out our duties to the public as priests, we have to be high. Our current circumstance is the direct result of my people's lack of interest in the Torah. The Gray went to great lengths to send us a message through time. The message of the prophet Zion through the prophets of Israel. They created 3 religions to ensure the plan would work. Then, after 3,000 years of waiting for us to be created, we just simply didn't bother to read the message they sent. The Gray tell us here that they desire mercy more than burnt offerings. Our burnt offerings, of course, is our getting high. It's a sacrifice because of the war on drugs. We sacrifice our rights as citizens when we get high. We offer up ourselves at the risk of imprisonment and or even death. But the Gray want mercy. They want an end to the war. They want my people to get high for their cause, not just for a good time. We were created to communicate with the Gray. When we rejected the Torah, we rejected the Gray. They promised us, they punished us, but now they want to end that punishment. Now the Gray start talking in the form of a defense. Shall the lawful captive be delivered? Yes, even the captive of the mighty shall be taken away. How? Because the law itself isn't a law. It's an unconstitutional law, a law that by the Bill of Rights isn't allowed. So, the so-called lawful captive is in reality an unlawful captive, a victim. The Gray defend the Zionites' right to end the war on drugs. There is a direct promise by the Gray. Our children will be cared for. Our enemies will be overcome. We will be freed from our current plight. The Gray have already provided for us the evidence that we need to free ourselves. When we stand up for ourselves, they will stand up with us, a very powerful ally, a savior. May they watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. And may they teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. That will help make you happy. Know that I love you. Stay happy and high. I'll later now, because I'll never say goodbye.